Hi everyone, I am Shantae Brown Howard, and today I want to talk to you about financial literacy. Now, my purpose is to persuade you guys that financial education should be a mandatory requirement for both high school students and college students alike. I believe that if we implemented a financial literacy course both in colleges and high schools, this would support the well-being of the individual as well as the economic health of a nation. Now, my freshman year of college, I found this financial literacy class by complete accident. I stumbled upon it and I read the poster, and I liked the visuals, which is what actually drew me to it. I also read the topics, that were listed and bullet pointed, and I also was very interested into, this different world. I've never looked into much of budgeting, personal finances, and I was fairly new with student loan debt, so that was something that I wanted to be completely on top of. So I thought that taking this class would actually help me in the long run, so I enrolled. So looking back, I always felt lucky that I happened upon this class because in the end, it truly taught me a lot. Now, the topics range from learning about credit cards, personal loans, student debt, budgeting, mortgages. It was everything. The experience opened my eyes and it allowed me to essentially become more aggressive about money management. Now, today I want to talk to you about the importance of financial literacy courses both in high schools and colleges. I believe that the focus of the course should weigh heavily on topics such as money management, purchasing habits, and etc. Essentially, ridding young adults of the ignorance factor will leave them better equipped to deal with the economy. Overall, teaching personal finance can influence the behaviors and make them more aware. Now, the first thing I want to get into is money management. Managing money is no longer a responsibility exclusive to adults. Managing money is already relevant to many teens today. Many teens now have part-time jobs, which means that they now pay taxes. They also have money from jobs, and this may prompt them to open up checking accounts or saving accounts. Now, according to the Council for Economic Education's annual survey of the states, 17 states in the U.S. now require that students at public high schools take a personal finance class before they graduate. Now, economics or civics courses that cover personal finance can count towards this as well. And something that I want to point out is that if you think about it, only 17 states require this, which I think is completely absurd because every state, in order to graduate, in order to get a high school diploma, you have to pass a class called physical education. So what this is telling me that the remainder of the states believe that it's more important to know how to climb a rope, throw a ball, or jog around a building than to know your loans, your budgeting, what your APR rates are, essentially everything that makes this world go round, money. Now, purchasing habits is something that goes hand in hand with money management. If you know how to manage your money well and effectively, you'll be able to purchase things that you can differentiate what are luxuries and what are necessities. Now, many high school students are now purchasing cars and paying for their car insurance completely on their own due to their part-time and full-time jobs. Teenagers are also taking into account how to pay for college, whether they'll take out loans, save money, get a part-time job, work on campus, etc. Now, purchasing habits and money management go hand in hand. If you manage your money and expenses well, you'll be able to use the same attitudes towards your purchasing habits and be able to differentiate what's a luxury and what's a necessity. Now, speaking from personal experience, I am spoiled rotten. My mother and my father got me virtually everything I wanted, and because of this, I wasn't really able to learn the value of a dollar. So growing up, I would ask for whatever I wanted, and I would get whatever I wanted, and it never taught me anything good. So as I got older, I realized, that it is not always going to be like that. I'm not always going to have what I want. I can't always put what I want over what I need. So right now, at this stage of my life, I'm learning how to balance what I want and what I need, how to manage my money. Like, should I spend $300-400 on these concert tickets for one night if I know that I have a credit card payment coming up, or if I know I have a student loan payment coming up? Things like that is something that I was able to learn, just by me being fascinated with this and by also taking that class. Now, ignorance is carrying a high price. What I feel is so important for everybody, especially people my age, is to get your financial license. Now, when you want to start driving, you study your permit. You practice driving, you take your test, and you cross your fingers and hope that you got your license. But we all know it doesn't stop there. There are rules and laws enforced when it comes to driving. Now, these precautions are taken to ensure the safety of everyone on the road, and it only makes sense. If everyone is licensed on the road, I feel more secure than getting on the road with non-licensed drivers. Now, if we apply the same way of thinking to financial literacy and financial knowledge, making this course a requirement for high school students and college students, then we will be able to produce individuals who will successfully thrive in any economic environment because they will be equipped with the right tools. Now, because ignorance is such a high price, lack of knowledge has to be anything but detrimental to our economy. Now, young adults are being faced with high-impact financial decisions without any knowledge of the consequences of the benefits of their choice. For example, student loan debt is the second largest debt behind mortgages. It has surpassed auto loan debt. It has surpassed credit card debt. Now, most of the debt is earned by young adults, which is completely understandable. They are worried about whether they can pay them off. Now, there have been many studies that prove students have very little understanding of how student loans work, nor do they attempt to try to calculate what their payments will be soon. It is very scary to know that so many young adults are taking on this burden and signing their name on a dotted line, agreeing to terms that they have no idea about. So, many students default and go into forbearance and deferment when they leave school because they have no idea. They didn't know what they signed up for. And I believe that if this class was introduced to them, at a early stage, they would feel so much better. Maybe there will be less default and less backing out of student loans. Now, student debt is only one challenge when it comes to lack of knowledge concerning economics. Students will also have to deal with supporting retirements paired with savings and investments that they will have managed throughout their lifetime. But to successfully complete something like this, you will have to understand concepts like risk and inflation. A quote from the Wall Street Journal reads, by 40, when majority of Americans have already made most of their important decisions financially, only 1 in 3 has mastered these concepts, according to the NFCS. Unless something changes, millennials will become part of that disturbing statistic. Can you imagine being 40 years old, standing in a room of 3 people and realizing that only one of you guys understand your money and understand where it's going, what it goes to? That's a very scary thing. And the fact that no one takes this very seriously is pretty alarming. Now, I want to talk about the ABCs of finance. Teaching personal finance can influence the behaviors of young adults. This does not sound like anything strange. If you teach someone something and if you give them the right tools, this will in fact change the way they behave. Now, if there were trained teachers with an in-depth curriculum, this could change the nonchalant outlook that young adults have towards things such as debt and defaulting on debt. When I talk about things like this, I like to say out of space, out of mind, out of body, out of mind, out of sight, out of mind. If it's not in your face, if it's not knocking on your door, if it's not hounding you, then you do not care about it. You do not realize what's going on. Now, it is more than talking about financial products. It is more than teaching these instances where we failed in finances, or it's more than just talking at a group of kids. What needs to be done is that you have to teach the important foundations of it and how they can apply it to their own finances. You can teach someone about finance and mathematicals and economics till they go gray or blue in the face, but if you aren't applying it to them and making them see how this will affect their life and how things will turn out very differently, then someone really wouldn't care or pick up on it. Now, my call to action is being aware that a lack of financial literacy is not only a personal problem, but a problem for the economy. It is not like there are 3, 4, 5, 600 people who have no idea about their finances. There are millions of people, millions of young adults who have no idea what anything means when it comes to their finances. And I know that it's so far-fetched because there are some adults, some young adults, some teenagers who know exactly about their finances, know what's going on, what is what, but that's not the case for everyone. And because that's not the case for everyone, this issue is not a personal problem. It isn't like one or two or three people are affected and it will not change the course of a nation. This is a problem for our entire economy. Now, surprisingly, what I found out during my research was that the Great Depression was a terrible time for the economy, which we all know, and essentially a lack of knowledge caused it. Consumers during this time were very unaware and didn't understand the mortgage and loan terms that they agreed to. And because they didn't understand what they were signing or what they were agreeing to, it was nothing when they began to default on these loans or not pay back the money that they own. And banks can't replace money that they do not have. So in fact, it is mind-boggling to think that the Great Depression could have been completely avoided if we just taught someone. In conclusion, the most important thing I want you to take away from this speech is that time is money, okay? Time is money. Now, one of the basic lessons in personal finance that you learn immediately is that time is money. And right now, time is running out, and it isn't on our side anymore. Many young adults are already behind the curve and don't understand their financial decisions. In closing, the best thing to do for the economy is to equip as many individuals as we can who will be in control of our future with the right tools in order for these people to actively contribute to the well-being of the economy.